welcome to Beauty Business Matters. I'm Susan Routledge, your host, and this is a very, very special episode that we have. I am with the lovely Jilian Huntley, who is the founder and director of Elite Probes. And Julie and I have known each other for a little while now, and I have just loved your journey through from when I first became aware of Elite Probes to where you've come to now, which is like, see, we're going to talk about you've got a big charity event. We've also hosted a brand new award with Professional Beauty. So we've got so much to talk about. But Gillian, can we just start with where this all started and how you got the idea to start Elite Probes? And, you know, as I say, I really don't know from the very start how it all started.
Okay, thank you, Susan, and thank you for inviting me here. It's fantastic. Yeah, I've never done one of these before. So how it started really was back in the lockdown. I don't know where I came to for that, just before that period, but obviously we had the lockdown. I had stopped all my other treatments, as I'm a beauty therapist, that was doing everything. Originally from manicures, pedicures, facials, right the way through to everything. And I stopped and just decided in the lockdown that, like everybody, we looked at our businesses, we looked at everything, was taking a new, fresh look at everything. And where I'd been doing the blemishes, I realised that the products that we were using hadn't been changed, hadn't been updated, and also that the blemishes that we were getting in were getting bigger and bigger. Because what I found was that, I researched it all. So I researched and found that from 2017, the NHS had stopped treating and paying for blemish treatments. So I thought, first of all, that would be a great opportunity to come in with the blemishes, that we were going to get busier. My GP knew what I was doing and had linked with me, and therefore she was my first link and said, this is a really great opportunity for you to take this on. But what I then did was I'd looked around, I'd seen that there was a lot of action going on in America, and there was a lady over there who had a bigger needle that was being used. So I approached her and asked her whether she wanted to collaborate, and that I was looking to do something in the UK. And she very much wanted to keep that to herself, and that she only would allow people to use her products that were using her machine. So I then took it on to I said to her, then in that case I would like to make my own. Is that okay in the UK? She said, yeah, fine. So I sort of made up the idea that the needles that we had were too small. I had to research and find a manufacturer, and I just wanted to do it as much in the UK as I possibly could. Found a UK medical manufacturer for needles and asked them, could they make something based on something bigger than what we already have. And he started doing that. And then after that, I then just thought about, well, hang on, this angled needle wasn't going to be suitable for every blemish that we do, because we do around 15 to 20 different blemishes. And each one has a different technique at the way we treat it. So I then came up with this other idea. So from an angled, ended probe to then a very thick, fat needle as such, per se. And that's how those two came about. I trademarked them, registered them, and it was a massive, big process for which I worked through the whole of the lockdown, researching, and it was difficult too because a lot of businesses weren't even open.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had to wait for people to come back. But it was exciting. I was really excited because all of my beauty career, I'd always wanted to have something. I wanted to have my own baby. And originally I thought it would be a skincare range or something. It seemed to be the obvious thing that people would develop for themselves. I had no clue that it would be something to do with the electrology world.
Yeah.
It just came about. It just came about.
So just going back, so before you started, like, did you have your own business, or were you working for someone doing beauty therapy originally?
No, always had my own business. Yeah. I have had my first salon in Kent, in Bexleyheath, Kent, and we had a full category of all treatments, full treatment salon, 5 treatment rooms, and I ran that for nearly 15 years. And then we sold that, and then I worked from home. Yeah. So I was just working from home in my own house. My husband set up the treatment room. We had a sink. We had everything. We had the proper flooring, and it was great.
So just for anyone who's not familiar with sort of electrolysis and blemish removal, when we're talking about needles, we're talking about still tiny little needles which aren't penetrating into the skin. No. But can you just explain a little bit about what kind of blemishes are treated by the small probes that you have?
Okay. So they're the same blemishes that have always been, that we've been allowed to treat, which are just benign blemishes. I don't know where the basic range came from, but so they start with the basic ones are skin tags, thread veins, blood spots, milia, Campbell de Morgans, which are little raised dome-shaped blood spots. They're the first that we train with, and then you can go on to an advanced course where then you do things like seborrheic keratosis, sebaceous hyperplasias, pigmentations, let me try and think what else, verrucas, finger warts, that sort of thing.
Yeah, which are all everyday common things that we are seeing from clients. Yes. And I think one of the misconceptions is that you, in the past, used to have your full electrolysis qualification and then X amount of, I think when I
hours,
something like that. I think when I did mine, I think it was even more at that point. So it was like quite a long process to actually be able to do advanced blemish work. And I think that is still a lot of therapists and business owners think that is still the same, but you can actually train, can't you, without having a electrolysis qualification now?
Yes, it was the original. Like you and I, we had to do 2 or 3 years of electrolysis, probing into the follicle before we could do the advanced blemishes. When I then started with my probes, and then we did the Excel show, that's how sort of I started looking at the qualifications, because I was just asked the whole time, could I teach with these? And I hadn't even thought of that, I hadn't even got as far as thinking that. I then approached a lot of the insurance companies and said, to be honest here, hair removal and the method is absolutely like chalk and cheese. It's black and white. It's nothing to do with it at all. And they agreed that we could have insurance, which is the main thing. We could get insured to just go straight into doing blemish removals without having the electrolysis, which was just always the original thing.
So with insurance, does it have to be that someone's level 3 trained, or
yes?
Yeah, so that's the prerequisite. Is like a level 3 qualification.
A level 3 beauty therapist.
Yeah.
Or with an anatomy and physiology background or a qualification, AMP.
Yeah.
A nurse or a doctor.
Yeah.
Or what was the one I had the other day? Pharmacist.
Yeah.
Where they've got a lot of anatomy type background.
Which opens up a whole new field, really, doesn't it? And the thing is that I'm sure a lot of people listening to this won't be aware of that, because I don't think it is. I mean, if I hadn't known you, I wouldn't have been aware of that, and I don't think it is commonly known. But it is very, very true. It's a totally different process, isn't it, to hair removal, and it's so satisfying, this work. I mean, I've done it for many years, but obviously I don't do as much work in my clinic now. But a lot of our members in Beauty Directors Club have a huge proportion of their business is just doing blemish work. Yeah. And it is so profitable as well, isn't it?
It is. I think it stems back from just years ago. So the industry came in with it being very not spoken about. Hair removal, polycystic ovary type thing, hairs, hair growth was swept under the carpet. Blemishes obviously is riding
even further
on the back of it. Yeah, was never really, nobody ever seemed to worry about it. But now it's all very much more open. Everybody is really over concerned about their appearance and what they look like. So, and now blemishes has come into their own. And during that time, the beauty therapists, the categories that we all trained in, have all broken down into somebody now is just a facialist, somebody is just a nail tech, someone's just a lash tech.
Yeah.
So, and lots of ladies out there are electrologists and have done nothing else but electrology over the years. And then obviously now it's coming through with the blemish therapists, which is brilliant.
This is the thing, I've spoken about this before. There's not many careers that you can train in where you can just take one element of it and turn that into your own career, and as well to not only do that but also to travel the world doing it if you wanted to, and take it to like wherever you are and still be a specialist in it, kind of thing, because the UK training is so good. But the thing is, I always like say you can't be a plumber and just do pipes, kind of thing. Our industry is just so great at that. Out of all of the different things, like you say, you can be a nail tech, you can be a lash technician, facialist, but out of them all, I would say that blemish removal is the most profitable.
I was going to follow up on when you just said that earlier. Yeah. I have not sort of been probably the most sensiblest businesswoman over the years and looked at the financial side. But obviously when I started doing this and I then wrote my course, that was part of the course that I had to look at the financial side of it. And when you look at how much you can charge for a blemish and how long it takes you to do it and multiply that out, that came about when we brought in the machine, so selling our machine. And then people were saying, well, okay, so how much does it actually, the overall package of the training plus the machine plus some needles, how much is it? No more than £2,500. But the actual blemishes, we cut it down that, okay, so if you bought this machine and you did your training, that money that you've just invested, £3,000, for example, just say a figure, that's much higher than it is, but just as taking it as a figure there, you could make that back if you were booked up just doing your blemishes in 2 to 3 weeks.
Or less.
It's the most, or less. I'm being very generous.
Yeah.
From that, I have taken the most money now doing these than I've ever done in my 25 to 35 years in the industry. And it's phenomenal.
And just as a rough ballpark, I know it's quite extreme, like sort of the froms and twos that, there are quite a few therapists massively undercharging for the treatment. But in general, what kind of price is the treatment going for now? People that you are training?
Yes, I recommend, as do a lot of people, I think now, that the starting price for having something like this is around about £75. I've met ladies from Wales, out places where in the middle of nowhere, and they say that's an outrageous sort of price. But we just look at it and say, look, you're not really now a beauty therapist, you're a specialist.
Yeah.
You're in between a therapist and a doctor. So the options are that someone would have to go and see a doctor or dermatologist to actually have to get a treatment done. If they went to a dermatologist just for a consultation, it's going to cost nearly £300. So the starting and finishing line would be, I would recommend anything from £75 upwards to, and a lot of girls I know are charging around £200 per blemish or per 15 minutes.
Yeah. And it is literally, I mean, treatment is so fast. That's the thing. It is, and so when you sort of price it into what you can do in a day.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
But as well, going back to like the dermatology kind of thing as well, dermatologists really aren't that interested in doing this kind of work now either. They and what we find is that, clients want that treatment. They want to be treated now. They don't want to go on to a 6-month wait list to wait and see a dermatologist for something that's going to take literally seconds and minutes to treat. But we get a lot of referrals from GPs now. And I think, that as an industry, because there's so much being taken away from the NHS, and if something isn't life-threatening and it's classed as cosmetic, you either go on the long wait list for the dermatologists, or GPs now, I think, are really quite happy for someone who's reputable and who has got good qualifications and reputable qualifications and fully insured, are quite happy to recommend. And as I say, we get a lot, and I know all of our members in Beauty Directors Club, they all get lots of recommendations as well. So I mean, it's it's like you say, you are bordering up onto like a more of a medical side.
Exactly.
But on the other side, it's life-changing to a client as well.
Absolutely.
Someone can have had, something that when they look in a mirror, they look straight at that, like it's some blemish, which can be taken away in minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had clients in tears before who would, with joy of like, and you will have had exactly the same,
Exactly.
and how satisfying is that? So are you finding that it's still slow getting the word out, or are you finding that it's, I mean, I know you do the shows now and you're always swamped. So are you finding that word is getting out faster now?
I think it is. There's always sort of a hot thing going on in the industry. Facials have usually always got something. There's always something with the body. But I think blemishes is really, since we started at XL, 2021 was our first show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as you say, each year, we've been there 4 years now, we have been swamped, and obviously we've got inundated, and the other companies that do training will have probably increased maybe their training too. So I think it's a really, really good thing that it's now getting more known and accessible. But a lot of nurses are also coming on board.
Yeah.
They're getting, a lot of them obviously a bit fed up with their situation.
Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of nurses coming to train as well.
Yeah. And I mean, really for nurses, obviously they do have the option to do the aesthetic side. But I think this is, I mean, as a profession, it's far easier to train.
Yeah.
It's far less intrusive. And, as I say, it's a win-win all the way, isn't it, kind of thing?
It is, as you say. I mean, I love it. Out of everything I've done, I mean, My main treatments over the years were electrolysis that I specialised in. I then did semi-permanent makeup for a while, and then I did the blemishes. So I've done all of these all of my career. But the blemishes now, and I used to say the medical tattooing and the semi-permanent makeup was life-changing, and that was very much so as well. But now I think the blemishes is just wonderful. It's just amazing. The things that we see, last week, for example, I had a gentleman who came along with his wife, lovely gentleman, with a massive, great big growth on his chin. He'd been to the GP. They're not interested in doing it.
No.
He, the wait list was going to be years because he was non-urgent. It's pretty sort of benign, safe blemish. And he had no money to go to the dermatologist to pay private. And luckily he found me. So I'm looking forward to starting him on a transforming journey for him, because they are quite, on his face, you can see it. He doesn't like it, and that's a gentleman.
Yeah.
So,
and how long has he had that? And
yes, been growing for years.
And obviously it is a big concern. He's taken the time to get a GP's appointment, to go to see a GP, to look at the options, and then now can just be treated quite simply. It's just...
I can't wait to do it, actually. I won't be able to do it in one session. It's going to probably take at least... With the spear, I shall flatten it each time. I've learned since I started just doing blemishes in 2020, and I've changed a lot of my techniques and thinking, because obviously I trained way back in the day. And I try and not remove as much as I used to remove. Things perhaps we used to hack off or whatever. Now I've worked with dermatologists. I've gone on a lot of courses and watched and looked at things. So I'm just going to flatten this blemish. We'll perhaps throw up a picture at some stage, maybe. He won't mind, his chin. And then, as I say, that will, because if he went to a dermatologist, they would literally just cut that off. They wouldn't do any other way, probably, than cutting it. So he would have a scar. He'd have probably quite a big scar, to be honest. But it would be done in one go, and he'd probably be fairly happy. He might have a few stitches and stuff. But because it's large for us, or for me, it's going to take me 2 or 3 sessions to gradually reduce that down for him. And he's quite happy with that.
Yeah.
I think what you were saying also is that the public are quite liking coming to us therapists as opposed to a medical GP doctor, official doctor that perhaps hasn't got much time, that their bedside manner is not always what we like.
Yeah.
And whereas I've got, I would say, a very natural, caring nature.
Yeah.
Because of what we do.
But the thing is as well, with GPs or even dermatologists, it's quite broad, their skill set, rather than being a specialist, which is what you can do with this. You can just be a specialist. And when you're saying it is the only treatment that I still do in my clinic, because I years ago trained in with the British Institute of electrolysis as well, and still hold that qualification, and then went on to do my advanced work. But it's just, I still love electrolysis, but I also still absolutely love doing like thread vein work and remedial work as well. And it's like, it's the satisfaction that you get, but also seeing the delight on someone's face when one of the girls was ill the other day, so I stepped in to do some thread vein work, and the client was just she was amazed at how it was gone, kind of thing. And it just makes you feel so good, doesn't it?
Yeah. The little blood spots are my favourite, because the client can actually literally watch where 1 minute it's there, 1 minute it's not.
Yeah.
And that's really good. And of course now we've got a lot of pressure with social media to, but it's also good that we can now share what we're doing and show all these treatments that we're doing, so that people can see as well that they can have things done. That a lot of people just say they didn't even know they could have things removed.
I know. So thank you for flying the flag on that one, because as I say, I think it is getting more and more where it's getting so much more recognised. But you've taken it one step further now, haven't you, Gillian? So you've taken it, well, a few steps further. So before we go on to like the awards thing, first of all, if someone is thinking of training, then I think there's the fear of treating something that you shouldn't. Yeah. There's all of that. Yes. And I know that's why, obviously, you know, we're both big advocates of like the mask training, and we've had Marie Tudor on as a guest on the podcast, and the fantastic work that they get. And I mean, the recognition of early detection of skin cancers, the training that they offer, which is something like for therapists, 20 it's not that it's not even that much, Gillian. I'm sure it's something like 20-25 pounds. Might be wrong, but I'm sure it's not as much as 40. Might be, but the amount of content in there, and the amount of confidence that gives. Yes. But then on top of that, obviously the training that you do is very, very precise, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I've redeveloped everything I've sort of learned, really, because the needles are so different. So they're not needles, they're probes. So they're that bigger. So I had to spend a lot of time understanding how the current was going to work in the least invasive way and the most safest way, which is what we do now. So, yeah.
How long is training?
My training depends. So I've developed a refresher day for someone who is already qualified. I've got a day one, as we would call it, for the 6 blemishes. I've got a day 2 only for someone that's done that first part. And then I've got a combined day as well. So if somebody wants to refresh on everything, because the techniques are different, they're totally different. They're not anywhere near the same as what have been going for the last 30 odd years. So that's quite important. But what I'm hoping to do now is pass that on to training schools, training academies, that they follow that same technique, because I'm learning from some of the teachers that they are taking our probes and then still using it the same way that they were originally trained, which is not really the way that these now are to be used. We've obviously demonstrated every year at Excel, so people can actually see. There's videos all over the place. But obviously, yes, it's a great thing to update and keep updated the knowledge of how to remove them with the way that we do them.
And I know I came in and shadowed you for a day.
Yes, you did.
And that was absolutely fascinating. It was so good as well, because obviously I trained back in the day as well. And although you're constantly updating, it's really good to like see like even more new techniques. So I absolutely loved that day, Gillian. Thank you so much. So then from here we have gone on to, you've also you sponsored the first award for blemish removal this year for professional beauty, which, I mean, I think the standards were so high, weren't they? And you got a lot applying to...
We did, yeah. I mean, even that shows how electrolysis and how blemishes have been under the radar. Because Mark Maloney, when I met him, he just really didn't even think anybody would be interested in having that category. And I insisted that he had to do it, that we had to do it. It was going to be amazing. We had a really, really high number of people. And the 7 finalists, I mean, they chose 7 finalists. I didn't have anything to do with that. From the applicants. were chosen, and it was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant. I obviously wrote a lot of the criteria, because the criteria was important to me, because the criteria from previously was just facials, bodies, and it was nothing like how a blemish removal is. It was a completely new category. So yeah, I was thrilled that we got that in.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, we haven't got that far yet to discuss whether Mark now wants to introduce an electrolysis category. I think it warrants it. I really do.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's
because
see.
I mean, I know it's not always taught now as part of a curriculum. I do think that it should be, because it is such a skill. And I think, you know, as we've said, that with the NHS and things, how things are changing, to work close with GPs and have that credibility to be recommended
Yeah.
as well from GPs is absolutely huge. Not only, like, you know, personally, but as a business, for that to, you know, to be recommended. And for GPs, we absolutely love it when people come in and they say, oh, that was my GP who told me to come. You know, that shows great confidence in your business, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. So I do hope that they do carry that on. But yeah, electrolysis, I think everyone thought, because moving to lasers, that was going to be the solution. But obviously lasers, you can still only treat certain hair types. So
That's right.
for hair removal, you'll still always be back to electrolysis.
Yes.
And for blemish removal, although there are things like cryopen, having the combinations and being able to do with advanced like work as you're teaching is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I've seen, obviously, the cryo pen came in and the plasma pen. I think there's been a bit of a turnaround, because they've been out a few years now. I remember them coming in. I remember asking one of my close girlfriends at the time, should I be investing in this as well as my electrolysis? But she said no. She said no. The accuracy and the precision that you can do using the probes is far better. This was her opinion, obviously, and giving me advice, was far more accurate and precise than using the plasma pen or the cryo pen. And we get people that come in with sort of a lot of warts and verrucas that have had cryo. And what I feel, that and just recently actually, is that the cryo possibly treats the surface not so,
It's not
able
root.
to go quite as deep.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm learning. So I'm learning all the time. I'm hearing things from my clients. I'm hearing things in the industry. We've got all these networking groups. I'm always looking to sort of learn more from everything.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the thing, this is what I absolutely love, because our industry is ever evolving, and everyone is so willing to share their knowledge as well. You know, it's like, that's what I absolutely love, that everyone's quite open to help each other and you know, and just for the greater good of our industry, really. So now as well, you have organised a charity event at the Gherkin. So tell me about that then, Gillian.
First ever of that as well.
Yeah.
I like to do these firsts.
You do, don't you? You like to be...
I do like the firsts. Yes, so it's our 5th birthday for Elite this year, 5 years coming up. And we wanted to do something special. But I've always done a lot of charity work over the years. My husband's a Freemason, and we've both always organised a lot of charity fundraisers. So I just thought it would be a really, really good idea to incorporate that into our event. And of course, to me, my closest advocate there was to be the Skin Foundation, the Karen Clifford Foundation, SKCIN. And so I am an ambassador for them anyway. And so, so we started that, and I looked at it, And then, so I wanted it to be education as well, but different education. So we're not just literally talking as in per se blemishes, but I've incorporated again something different. So we're incorporating all the other things that are involved with us treating blemishes. So sterilisation is obviously high now on our list. Autoclaves, the new thing, map my mole, so using a dermatoscope. What else have we got? We have got Habia, obviously coming along, talking about the latest industry, what's going on with the government, that sort of thing. So, yes, and we're going to have a big raffle. We are gathering our donations as we speak. We've got some really lovely donations. Native Lighting are donating some lights. So I haven't got a sort of a whole list yet, but we're getting it all together. And it will be, because it's at the Gherkin in London, it will be more a London-based raffle prizes as well. There's no point in perhaps giving something in Portsmouth or something. So we're hoping to collect some sort of London-based raffle prizes, but hopefully will be some really big ones too.
I'm really looking forward to it because I've never ever been in the Gherkin,
Haven't
to be
you?
honest. I've never ever been, and to be speaking there is going to be
Thank
fabulous.
you.
So
Yes.
I can't wait to be speaking there for you. So the thing is that with that event, is that just someone who's already trained in with elite probes can go, or can anyone go?
No, it can, anybody can come.
Yeah.
We were originally thinking of it being, well, first of all, for our own customers. There is a restriction on how many we can have up there, but I've opened it up because I would like other people, if they can come and sort of join in with everybody and mix and network together as well, and learn. Really, this is more about a learning for the other things. So I'm not really at this. It depends on the time constraints of how we can get through it. But really, I'm not standing up there talking about a blemish or something like that. We're talking about everything that goes into this. And of course, the Skin Foundation is really important, and cancer prevention. And the blemishes that we wouldn't treat. So obviously, we only treat benign blemishes.
Yeah.
But yes, it's on the 40th floor.
Oh wow!
So you know the big dome, the
Yeah.
sort of the big arch dome.
Yeah.
It's up in the top there.
Oh my
And
word!
literally, you can look over the whole of London. So it's a spectacular venue to have.
And what date and times is that?
Okay, so it's on Friday, the 29th of August this year, obviously. It's 12 till 4.
Yeah.
So there'll be a Prosecco, there will be canapes. The people that are helping sponsor us, Professional Beauty, MBO, Habia, they will be there. They will have some displays and things as well, the likes of yourself. And so it'll be casual. It'll be nice and casual, meet with a drink. And then we've got a speaker, I just remembered actually, a lady who's worldwide speaker in social media. So she's going to be coming along and giving some hints and tips for us, because this is obviously a big thing these days now.
Yeah.
So yes, it's going to be fab.
Amazing.
Fab.
And how many tickets have you got available? Or have you
We have only just started selling, so we're still around for up to about 100 tickets.
Oh, amazing.
We only started. They're
amazing.
£125 each. We've put them on our website now. Originally we put them on Eventbrite, but they put a charge of over £10.
Yeah.
per
And
ticket on
it's
them.
for a charity event. It's
Which-
like a big chunk that gets taken. So
we changed that. So we've now changed it to on the website. There is a small charge that our website are putting on, which is £3, I think. But yes.
brilliant. Well, we'll put into the show notes your website and everything, and all of your details of how someone can get in touch with you.
Yes.
So as well, hopefully it'll spark some interest for tickets, because I'm sure that the tickets aren't going to hang around for too long as well.
No.
But Gillian, this has been absolutely amazing talking to you through all of this.
Thank
I
you.
just think as a profession, it just needs, we just need to spread the word, because they say it can be such a lucrative and such a rewarding profession. And it is
Yeah.
a profession
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
with the highest of standards. So, Gillian, thank you so much.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you for inviting me.